Hello, this is Matt on the Moon Lambo channel. In this video, I'll be covering several topics. Most notable from my perspective is that Binance CEO CZ has stated, just announced today in an interview with Rand Neuner, that he believes an altcoin rally is coming, meaning that altcoins that are not Bitcoin should be going up in price, or at least that's historically how it's been viewed. That's not quite what CZ sees happening, but I'll be delving into that in just a bit. I also want to talk about some fun FUD from Tone Vase, who believes that XRP is useless, which is laughable, so I'm going to cover a little bit of that. And got a story about a crypto Ponzi scheme unrelated to XRP. I'll cover that towards the end. And then also, Shapeshift has this new solution for custody, but it's not them doing custody. It's more like they have their platform allows you to custody stuff yourself, your crypto yourself. I'm probably not wording that very eloquently, but it's a solution. It's a custodial solution without them having your private keys, essentially. So anyway, I'll be delving into that. And also, I wanted to say real quick here too, the story about the crypto Ponzi scheme that I'm covering. Somebody, I think they're just trying to get their Twitter account started, and they tagged me along with some other YouTubers in this link to a CoinDesk article. So I'm going to go ahead and highlight them just as a courtesy because I think it's an interesting topic. And so I wanted to say, really, if anybody has any interest in sharing any content with me, whether it's crypto related or XRP related, somewhere thereabout, hopefully somewhat on those topics. If you're interested in sending anything my way, I'm happy to look at it because, there's so much information out there in the world that if this were my full-time job running this channel, which is not, it's a hobby for fun. I do this for fun. That's it. But if it were a full-time job, there's not enough time in the day to cover everything. And so I'm not going to be aware of every single topic out there. So the best way, if you do have any interest in sending anything, and I'll be happy to give credit if you send me something and I cover it, the best way would be to just tweet something out and then just tag me in it. You don't have to direct message me if you just want to tag something on Twitter. And there's no promise that I'll cover everything because, again, there's just so much content out there that, again, from my full-time job, I just could not. But I thought I'd just throw that out there because I thought it was kind of cool that this guy thought of me. And since he's just trying to get his Twitter account started, he had maybe one follower or something like that. Or I can't remember. I'm going to pull them up and show you guys in case you have any interest in following yourselves. But just kind of wanted to let you know. And last thing before we get going here, if you would please delicately tap the like button and subscribe. Subscribe. That's it. Please subscribe. All right, on to the content. This is a tweet out from Rand Neuner. And this came, when did he tweet this out? Like 10 minutes ago, 20 minutes ago? Yeah, 22 minutes ago, it looks like. Anyway, so this is the link to his video, which I'll put below. It's on YouTube. And he interviewed, somebody told me how to pronounce the name. Somebody that watched my video, I said, I don't know how to say it, and they told me her name. It was like, I'm going to butcher it now. It's like Chang Ping Jiao. The last part was Jiao, J-A-O. Chang Ping Jiao. Am I saying that right? Somebody said, if you're listening, you're the one. I read your thing, and I probably hearted it. But anyway, so CZ of Binance, he's on the show, and he says, because he was asked by Rand Neuner, do you think that an altcoin rally is coming? And he said, because Rand said, Bitcoin's been rallying, and you haven't seen as much activity from all the other coins out there. And CZ's answer was yes. And though he didn't get into specifically which coins he thinks will rally and to what degree, he spoke broadly, and he stated that he does believe it's coming. He thinks it's going to be different than in 2017, though, and he could be spot on with this. He says that whereas in 2017, it's pretty much every cryptocurrency on the planet would go up. As Rand Neuner stated eloquently within this particular interview, it's like you could throw a dart on a board and just bam, you hit something and that's going to increase. That's basically what he was saying. And CZ made a point, which I think he's spot on with this. He's like, yeah, I don't think it's going to be like that. I think it's going to be the ones that are actually useful. I don't know if he used the word useful. I can't remember exactly how I worded it. I'm paraphrasing, but it doesn't matter. The concept was that he believes that there are going to be certain coins that go up and are going to be adopted for particular reasons. And so that goes back to my whole hypothesis, which is that long term, The cryptocurrencies that will have genuine staying power are those currencies that have actual utility, and that's why a statement like that is relevant to me, because he's using the same different words to say the same thing as I am, and it just reaffirms for me that I'm on the right track the way that I'm choosing to invest for me. I never give financial advice. I'm not a financial professional. I'm just an XRP community enthusiast sharing with you what I think and some news items, and that's pretty much it. But from my perspective, it makes sense to invest in XRP because I believe seriously it's going to have major staying power, and I see it actually being adopted on a global scale. We're at the beginning stages of it, so I think that XRP will be one of those coins that is part of the altcoin rally. Now, given that XRP is the least correlated asset in terms of like the top 10 coins in particular relative to the price action of Bitcoin, I will not be surprised if some of the other altcoins start moving up sooner than XRP. And I've talked about in recent videos why that is, so I'm not going to rehash that in this video, but XRP does behave differently, and I think it's for good reason. It really comes down to utility, which again I've explained in a fair amount of detail recently, so I won't talk about this video. I'm sure we'll get at some point. But I think it's coming, and that's why I've said before, if some of these guys that have been predicting major run-ups, like there's a video I posted yesterday, and there's a Forbes analyst that it was basically, he thinks that Bitcoin's going to be up to maybe about, I think, around 27,000 by the end of the year. And then you got Mike Novogratz, and he was saying that he thinks mid-December of this year, or late December of this year, he thinks that Bitcoin is going to basically hit its all-time high of 20,000. He thinks it's going to eventually smash through that and reach levels like 40 and 50,000. He could see that in the somewhat near future, whether it's 1 or 2 years out, whatever. He sees that happening. And if analysts like that are correct and that type of price action occurs in the calendar year of 2019, I don't think it would be too long after that you'd see something from XRP, even if that means 3 or 6 months out. And this is not me making a prediction. I'm actually just stating this based on what I've seen over the past 5 years. And so while I don't know what will happen and me stating that it just may not come to fruition, what I'm saying is if it does play out like that, I will not be surprised. I will not be surprised if within the next 12 months even, I won't be surprised if we do hit all-time highs. But, really that comes down to, since Bitcoin leads the market, it comes down to what's Bitcoin doing first, and then XRP is probably going to follow after that. It'll lag behind to whatever degree I suspect. I'd be really surprised if you see XRP reach its all-time high without Bitcoin getting close to or reaching its all-time high first, because if you look over the history of crypto over the last decade, that just it doesn't happen in the opposite order. It hasn't yet, and that's not to say that XRP wouldn't be number one in market cap at some point. I can totally see that happen, but I think that we're just far too early on for that to be the case. I think if you look years out, well, yeah, those coins that have utility are going to be adopted, and to me, there's no coin that has more utility and is actually be adopted as a result of the utility than XRP, and that's why I have confidence that based on the information available today, XRP is number one for me, and I think it'll be represented in terms of its actual price as number one market cap at some point. Now, of course, if things change over time and maybe there's something that pops out of nowhere I couldn't have foreseen, to where there's a new coin that has more utility, well, I'm going to be open and honest with you about that, because I'm not here for ideological reasons. I'm here, well, it's fun because I have skin in the game because I've invested my own money, but I like thinking about things critically. I like thinking analytically, and if something changes and I no longer believe in what Ripple's doing or XRP, I'm going to be honest about it, but I couldn't be more bullish on Ripple and XRP right now. I could not. It's just amazing, the actual development. And so that's why when I see others underappreciating it, I'm like, okay, I'll buy more. That's just for me. That's how I am. But yeah, if anything changes, of course, on this channel, I'm going to be happy to announce facts as I see them anyway. So what do you guys think? Do you think that we're going to be seeing a bull run sooner or later? Or hopefully sooner than later. I'm kind of curious what you guys think. Feel free to drop a comment below. Next piece here. This is a tweet, and gosh, I'm not going to dwell on this too much for this video because I've talked about it somewhat recently, but people still think that Ripple is somehow, for some reason, suppressing the price of XRP, and it's an absurdity to me. It is not happening. If you believe that and you're listening to this channel, no offense to you, I just disagree with you, but there's no evidence to it. There is absolutely no evidence to it. So here's a tweet by somebody named Silly Ann, and they tweeted out, "Glad that Ripple was able to suffocate another XRP breakout attempt. I was about to lose a bet. You've moved the funds a few hours prior to the breakout to exchanges this time. Smart, or was it? Hashtag XRP community at Miguel Villas. At least now I know what zero doubt stands for." Okay, so Galgatron responded, are we still talking about the private account that bought from Ripple and distributed to various exchanges? And then Aussie Bull Run responded, what do you mean Galg, as in Galgatron? And Galgatron responded, I don't see how Ripple is implicated here. I see one account that purchased a pile of XRP from Ripple and then distributed to exchanges. How is Ripple complicit with suppressing the price of XRP if all we know is that someone bought XRP and put it on exchanges? And so even if you disapprove of a middleman moving XRP to exchanges, look, understand, first of all, there are price restrictions. If an entity bought a bunch of XRP and wants to sell it, understand there are price restrictions. So if they sell outside of those restrictions, there could be legal ramifications. There wouldn't be those restrictions if they bought at market rate through Ripple, and that's what, like, Ripple's going to sell at the market rate if there aren't some sort of restrictions or pride that's going to attach that are going to benefit the XRP ecosystem, because Ripple is a good steward of the XRP ecosystem. They don't want the price to just crater for the heck of it. That makes no sense. Like, why would they want to make some company rich that wouldn't even benefit them or the XRP ecosystem? Like, it wouldn't work like that. And so if a company bought at the market rate of whatever XRP is going for, if they bought mass quantities from Ripple because it's easy to do that, and then took that XRP and decided to sell it to exchanges, and exchanges decided to buy, that would not crater price. That would just be XRP. And I don't know why they do this, but if they want to do it, it would be an entity buying a large sum of XRP at market rate and then turning around right away and selling it at market rate. Do you see what I'm saying here? It makes no sense that would crater the price. It makes absolutely no sense. There's nothing going on here. Unless there's an entity that had access to XRP that they purchased through Ripple, mass quantities, and then they did something illegal outside of the agreement of a contract and then sold, then I'd say, okay, you're right. There is no evidence that is happening whatsoever. If that happens, I'm happy to highlight it, and I will talk about it, and then I'll rally with you. But until then, if you've got no evidence, let's not keep saying that Ripple is somehow suppressing price when there's just purely no evidence on that topic. All right, next piece here, and this is from Leah Hilpern, and she saw recently, I'm going to have to bring this up in another video. I know I kind of talked about it. There was an interview from Leia, and she interviewed Matt Hamilton, a member of the XRP community, and I did talk about that recently, but there's another interview that it just got me thinking Matt Hamilton did that I want to share with you, which is really insightful. I think he did it with Bitcoin Ben, but I'll have to talk about that in another video. It just popped in my head. And that was from like over a month ago, but not new news, but it was awesome. Like tons and tons of detail. I think that if you're here like seeking to like learn more about XRP and Ripple, which is always how I feel on a daily basis, you would love listening to this interview that I'm referencing. So I'll have to talk about it in the future. But anyway, so this is from Leah Halpern, and she tweeted out, giving his thoughts on the Ripple and MoneyGram partnership. Tone Vase explains why he believes the Ripple token is useless. You will want to check out the full conversation. And so I checked out the clip here, and I'll link below in case you want to check it out. But he's literally stating that the XRP token, he calls it, I think they say token, that the coin is actually useless, that it doesn't do anything, and that there's no purpose for it. And it's just astonishing to me when what he's basically saying, because in order to believe that, you'd have to believe that not only has Ripple been going on with their whole business plan for, how long have they been around technically? It's like 7 years or something like that. How long has Ripple actually been around? It's not only them, and then you've got MoneyGram, which is a major remittance company, absolutely major. They're in over 200 countries with over 22,000 payment corridors. And so they also have bought into something that is, by definition, useless according to Tone Vase. Where does this all come from, and when does it end? It's very difficult for me to believe, and I don't like to assign intent to people, but this is not a stupid person, and he's so ingrained in crypto and so well known. I don't know how you could be in the space this long and not understand the utility of XRP. It doesn't make sense to me. It makes me feel like this person might perhaps be disingenuous. Is that too much for me to say? Because it doesn't feel like it. It feels to me like he's out there dispersing FUD. And then as I watch this interview, how many people that know less about this, or maybe they're just starting out their adventure into the crypto asset class, and maybe they're interested in XRP and learning, how many of them are getting turned off because of stuff like this? Complete nonsense, complete FUD. It really grinds my gears, really steams my vegetables. It's really stupid. So I just thought I'd highlight it, but all you can do is highlight it, talk about it, and just try and when something's complete FUD, just call it out for what it is. And so that's what I'm doing here, and I'm going to keep doing that because it's stupid. All right, next piece here. Bitcoin back near $12,000 as BTC shorters lose $44 million in one morning. Wow. Okay. So this is a fun piece from CoinDesk here. It states Bitcoin price reached $12,000 on some exchanges on July 8th after a fresh uptick saw daily gains top another 6%. Data showed BTC/USD just hit its latest significant psychological level in trading at press time, having begun the day below 11,500. On major exchanges, USD spreads meant Bitcoin was yet to reach $12,000 universally, with Bitfinex the first to record the higher price point, topping out at $12,000. Bitstamp, traditionally one of the more conservative price trackers, recorded 11,940. Right, and so let me just read. Let me just close this out, and then I'll tell you something here. Okay. $12,000 represents the most of the lost ground Bitcoin managed to reclaim in the past week, having previously hit a 15-month high of 13,800. Attention remains focused on the largest cryptocurrency, with altcoins still putting a lackluster performance for traders. Okay, and so I want to cite especially the last part because of what CZ just said. Yes, he's correct. Altcoins still are performing in a lackluster manner relative to Bitcoin. The way it's performing for traders, not so hot. Got it. And so what I would like to ask you is, does it make more sense to follow Bitcoin as it's at the highest point it's been in 15 months, or is it perhaps better to invest in something that hasn't already had a run-up in price? Well, history would show you, regardless of asset class, as long as there's real use for something, maybe it's a stock and you're talking, okay, the company's on the right path. As long as that's all checking out, then typically if something is at a low price relative to where it had been in the past, because some people panic sold, which is what we saw because of 2017, it may be undervalued. And so my opinion, without giving financial advice, because I will not ever give you financial advice, I think that XRP in particular, being, many want to call it an altcoin, okay, whatever. Some people were like, no, it is the standard, do not call it an altcoin, which I respect. If that's your stance, that's fine. But anyway, whether you call it an altcoin or not, from my perspective, it's underappreciated. And so when I look at it from that perspective, I'm just like, why would I want to buy into something that's already near, like, not all-time high, but the highest it's been in 15 months, versus something like XRP that relative to its all-time high, it's not even close. Which has the greater opportunity for substantial gains? And that's the way that I kind of look at it. So I don't know. Do what you want here. Again, not financial advice. I just like to share my opinion with you on it. But like CZ said, I think we're going to have an altcoin rally coming, and it does make me wonder how many of those altcoins are going to pump that actually still have no utility, because to me it seems like most of them have no utility. So it does make me wonder what that's going to look like. I guess from his perspective, from CZ's perspective, it sounded more to me like not all of them will pump, but he thinks a lot of them will. And so if most of them don't have utility, okay, such is life, right? All right, and here's, I talked about this earlier. So here's this Crypto News Radio. This is a newer Twitter account. Looks like they've got one follower. Now they got two. I just clicked on that, so I should be number 2 there. All right. And they tagged me along with some other XRP YouTubers out there. And I thought, what the heck? You know what? I appreciate you sending something my way, so I went ahead and followed you. I hit the heart here, and I'm going to talk about it on my channel because it's actually an interesting story. Thankfully, not about XRP since it's negative and a Ponzi scheme. But anyway, here's the piece right here. Again, from CoinDesk, and it's titled, Crypto Ponzi Scheme Says It Has No Cash to Pay Out to Upset Investors. Don't fall for this stuff. Why is my screen all zoomed in? This keeps happening. I don't know if I need to restart my computer. This keeps happening. I'm not touching anything. Anyway, Bitcoin Wallet, a lucrative South African investment scheme, used to attract hundreds of investors a day, many of whom clamored at the company's doors to invest. Now the company's shuttered office is attracting hundreds of protesters demanding their cash back, according to Ladysmith Gazette. As of July 4, the enterprise that many regulators and media had begun suspecting of operating as a Ponzi scheme shut down. The firm enticed investors with promises of 100% returns in just over 2 weeks by reinvesting customer deposits into cryptocurrencies. Oh, God. These same investors want to know where their money went now that the company has closed. And so I'm not going to read through this whole piece, but it is fascinating. It's not that long, so I'll link below if you want to check it out. But guys, anytime you are promised like 100% returns, that's not realistic. Like it's not going to last. Please run. Something is not cool there. Something's not kosher. All right, don't do it. I don't like seeing people get hurt, but that's why I think it's worth speaking with these things when they happen, especially when they happen in crypto, because people still, by and large, view the crypto asset class as the Wild West. So let's try and squash as much of this as possible. All right, last piece I'm going to cover for the day. This is another one from CoinDesk, and it's titled "Shapeshift's New Platform Aims to Make a Crypto Self-Custody as Easy as Coinbase." All right. So the piece starts out, "Shapeshift's new one-stop shop for non-custodial crypto management is launching out of private beta today. The new platform wants to rival custodians like Coinbase for ease of use, all while giving users full control of their private keys." And here's a quote. "Largely, this came from my dissatisfaction with the reality that most of the large companies are custodial," Shapeshift's founder and CEO Eric Voorhees told CoinDesk in an interview. It continues the quote here. "It offers many services that a company like Coinbase would provide, but on Shapeshift, it's done in a much more secure and self-sovereign way." And so that's what I was trying to state at the beginning of this video, and I realized immediately I was not being as articulate as I normally prefer of myself, but that's the best way to word it. It's custodianship that is done in a self-sovereign way, and they just offer a means by which to achieve that, basically. Okay, and then the piece continues. "The new platform allows users to buy, sell, trade, and track multiple cryptocurrencies in a single place with over 50 digital assets currently supported. Using the new platform requires a connected hardware wallet like Trezor or KeepKey, which Shapeshift acquired in 2017. The company's approach seeks to eliminate counterparty risk." Okay, and so the reason it's important to point out stuff like this is look, let me say this actually, a better way to approach this. One of the bigger problems that we had during the bull run of 2017 is if you wanted to jump in, it was not easy. There's a lot of the ecosystem that still needs to be fleshed out. There's a whole lot of infrastructure that still needs to be built. This is a piece of the pie. And this is one solution that users can go after. And this one has to do with custodianship, self-custodianship, thanks to Shapeshift. So it's for me, what's important as the infrastructure is developed, we need to keep seeing that entities out there actually building useful things to make it easier for people to get into crypto. And this is just one more notch to get in there, and that's why I love seeing stuff like this. And the piece ends toward the end. Let me just cover part of the end of this I wanted to read. And here we go. "Large funds and institutions will likely still custody with third-party qualified custodians, but as crypto becomes more mainstream, consumers will continue to custody using hardware solutions for some time." Paul Vereditikit, a partner at Pantera Capital, which participated in Shapeshift's $10.4 million Series A in 2017, told CoinDesk. And then it continues his quote, "Shapeshift is providing a much better experience in producing Shapeshift is providing a much better experience and product than the existing players. The launch comes 7 months after significant downsizing at the company, which is operated primarily from the U.S. and United States state of Colorado. That was weird the way they wrote it. That's why it tripped me up. However, as the most recent crypto winter recedes into the rear view, Shapeshift is optimistic about its next phase. Describing the platform in a press statement, Voorhees said, "It is where crypto lives and breathes, and upon it we will build our vision for self-sovereign finance." And that's all I got for you today. Thank you so much, or at least for this video. I might make another video later if time permits. There's too much for me to cover. Like I said, if this were a full-time job, I couldn't cover everything out there. So if I have time, I'll make 1 or 2 more videos today. We will see. But if not, you'll probably see me tomorrow if you care to check me out. But I am not a financial advisor. Do not buy or sell anything because of anything that I say or write. That would be a very, very, very bad idea. Take care.